Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Okay, this is a Geico commercial, a 30-second one, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you. The lizard voice doesn't work. But please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on your car insurance. This company has been offering great rates and great service for over 75 years. That's the same amount of years as I've been alive. At any time you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. The company is Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out of time.
Now, Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
We could do an episode of Seldom Right But Never in Doubt.
What do you get?
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Spike's Car Radio.
It's actually an episode of Seldom Right But Never in Doubt.
Starring
your host, Paul Zuckerman, and my guest of the day is Spike Ferriston. Spike, right. I need you to ask me a question.
Any question?
I'm going to tell you what to ask me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Why is the moon sometimes blue?
Why is the moon sometimes blue?
That's the stupidest question I ever heard. And that concludes another episode of Seldom Right But Never in Doubt.
That reminds me of your show pitch, You Ate Ham,
Yes.
Where we grind up ham and serve it to Jews, and they don't know. And after they've eaten it, you say, you just ate ham.
Oh, that's funny.
I guess.
Oh, you don't think that's funny?
No, I like it.
Yes.
I don't think I can convince a major network to do it.
Or any
Tricking
of my
Jewish people into eating ham?
Yeah, like remember it was going to be candy canes made of ham, strawberry ice cream made of ham. Why don't you have...
How do you like that ice cream, sir? It's delicious. You ate ham!
Exactly. How about some red velvet cake? We have secretly added ground up ham into the red velvet cake.
What happens to the observing Jew when he eats ham? Does he go to hell after this? I mean, what happens?
I don't know. Was that a concern of ours? Do you believe in hell? Is there fires with pitchforks?
No, I don't believe in any of that. But I'm just saying I'm not a practicing Jew. If you feed ham to a practicing Jew, how badly does this affect their lives?
I think it affects your life for doing it to him. I think he's okay because he was tricked. If you believe
he's okay because he was tricked.
He was okay because he was tricked. You're
so
not
his
okay.
God. Who is it? Yahweh? What's the Jewish?
I don't fucking know. I say God.
Like on our side, we have the Jesus, the Trinity. I think it's Jesus and the Holy Ghost and somebody else, some other clown.
The only one I want to really celebrate is the Holy Ghost. How come they don't have something for him?
Hey, I'm the Holy Ghost. We don't see enough characterizations of the. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Holy Ghost here.
Holy Ghost here.
Hey. How you doing?
I'm going to go into the girls' dressing room.
I'm a
holy ghost and see the holy underwear.
You should see what I see. We share power. I wonder if that's where our system of government came from. The three branches of government.
Of course, my dear friend. 3 is that number.
Well, Jonathan Ward of Icon.
Look how nice he looks.
All
nice
dressed
to
up.
See you.
He
is our second double attendee.
Well, yeah?
You set the style trend.
Wait, pull that mic up to your face and make sure you talk into it.
Is that how those
going
work?
To hear you.
There we go.
These ones. You don't need your headphones.
Okay.
It's too distracting. How are you?
I'm grand. How the hell are you guys?
We're just taking apart world religions right now, and I meant to tell you, Zuckerman, my wife was in Greece and brought back a giant bag of Greek peanut M&Ms, and I went
Were
through
they made with feta? Moussaka? Did we say that? Oh, we said that already.
We did. I know these shows are kind of airing in reverse, but I opened them up and went through them. What do you think?
Well, it's Greece.
Better made or worse made than American peanut M&Ms?
No, not for the consumer expectations are low in Greece. Nothing works right there. I say that they're equal. They're the same or worse.
Worse.
Really?
50% plus mutants, and on top of it, They didn't even taste like peanut M&Ms. They tasted like, I don't know, a degraded chocolate that
Really?
You wonder if it's even.
Do you think they repackage and redate? They take the stuff that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old from Costco. They rip the bags open, and then they put it in new Greek bags.
I think if they are doing any sort of quality testing, that these peanut M&Ms end up in the Greek airport. I think that's what's
I may
going
have
on.
some input here.
All right.
Oddly
What do you
enough.
have?
So you know how Coca-Cola varies around the world? It's because
Yes.
they don't want to distribute it and deal with the weight of the water and all that. So it's all locally contracted.
Right.
So the formula is probably a little loosey-goosey in Greece. Wild guess. Therefore, they're just kind of sort of making what seems to be good enough in the market tolerance.
Yeah, they got
yes.
some of the paint colors right.
It's like foreign, it's like foreign ketchup.
Yeah, well, they're doing that here too.
Now, Jonathan, I have to just say, because I noticed things, what did you do to your right hand?
You know, my left hand recovered a lot quicker.
So wait, his right hand is what? I didn't notice.
He
Oh,
mangled.
it's all
Nothing.
bruised
Yeah, it
and
was pretty-
mangled. It's
no,
gnarled.
it's not. It's actually it's a long story, but
See,
it's dye.
Oh.
So my obsessive compulsive psychotherapy weekend nights sort of hobby is traditional leather craft, but like old school, so everything by hand, no tools. And I recently took a class with this artist who's reviving Hermes bought this brand like 100 years ago that made these pigments in France. And they stopped commercially using it a couple of years ago because it's like way too labor intensive and artisan based. So my friend is like trying to revive it and Hermes wants to make it a viable company on its own. So I've been taking classes and learning. So that we're doing a 49 Hudson Coupe derelict that we're stoked. We just got invited to debut it at the Quail Show.
Is that a
this year.
Commodore?
boy.
What is that?
So ours is the Super 6, which
Oh,
is like the
with the
cheapest
two.
possible. No, it's
Doesn't
like
have the
plain
two.
Jane,
Right.
non-dual. And then, well, I mean, now it's got a four-wheel independent chassis, Brembo's rack and pinion, LS9. But the interior on that one, we're doing all in wild-caught alligator that I am hand painting
Wild cuts.
tile by. Oh, no,
Sir,
it's...
before I order this alligator, is it wild caught
You're at the-
or is this frozen alligator?
You're at the
all right,
fish
Mr.
counter.
Smartass, there's a difference.
There's a
well,
fish-
no, I know.
You want to
in-
know
in
the difference, or you
salmons
just
and
want
other
to
things.
judge me, man?
I'm not judging you. I'm having fun with you.
Yeah, no, the
My wife does this when she orders fish. Is it farm raised or is it wild caught or?
see,
is it
we like
frozen?
wild caught because it's less
isn't-
perfect.
Well,
It
is
has
every-
natural
every-
has
scars.
Every
and funk
alligator
to it.
caught in the wild?
No, most of them, the
They're
majority are
domesticated. They're-
farmed now. Yeah.
Really?
But I'm bummed. I thought he had dropped an anvil on his hand like a cartoon.
Oh,
That's
sorry
what
to disappoint
Where
you.
are the alligator farms?
Florida, man.
Louisiana's
The
got a lot.
Everglades? Yeah.
Florida's got a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of
They're
the
alligator
southeast.
dairy farms.
So yeah, what
Can
we
they
do
milk
is
it?
we order them.
Those alligator nipples.
We order them in crust where they're basically white,
That's
and
cool.
then we go in and hand paint and hand stain
Wow.
every single
What
tile.
kind of man are you,
I'm
Mr.
I'm
Ward? This
I'm
is
a serial craftsman. I just can't help myself.
So
I
now,
like
so
this.
now that
I like
quail,
Plus, how nuts is that? No one's ever
it's
done
beautiful.
that in
It's
interiors.
gorgeous.
It's going to be off the
It's
hook.
gorgeous, blue gray. Now that quail has thrown down the gauntlet, that's what you meant, right? There's now a hard date you have to meet for this thing.
Yes, or better yet, I'm hoping to beat that date for once in my life by like 30 days because I want to vet and drive the piss out of the car. Because to me, especially up at Pebble Car Week, like the thing to do is to drive the derelict up the one and flog it all week and piss off the purists.
Right.
So that's really my goal. Make sure my cooling system's all vetted and I'm good in
I
the
like
Carmel
those
traffic.
posts way better. Like you just driving that car and posting on Instagram is going to blow away anything you do at the
And
show.
it's so fun up there because
Yeah.
it's like the one dude in a kilt with no underwear in a sea of perfect tuxedos.
fun.
You know, they're just the derelicts are so disruptive.
kilt, balls kilt. I want to see you, though. You have to have alligator boots. You have to have a pimpy outfit, maybe even an alligator briefcase
How
to
about
go
a
with
live
it.
alligator?
I've made the briefcase.
That,
I haven't
Featherston,
made
I just
boots yet.
pointed.
Yeah.
The audience should know that I just pointed
Nice
to indicate
alligator on a
that's a
leash.
brilliant
On
idea.
a leash with some pictures.
But then what kind
and a
of
girl.
color do you put on an alligator? Not an alligator collar.
Dude.
That'd be kind of uncool.
Okay,
Put it in
Vinyl.
some Pebble
Like-
Beach clothing. You know, the
You're-
loud pants and the Richie
You
Rich
know,
guy shirts.
I don't want to be that guy. I'm not going to do the Robert Graham pink upturned collar.
That is a very
No
that
offense
is a,
if that's
Robert.
what you
No,
rock
no,
up at
we
Pebble,
that is
man. I don't want any trouble.
Pebble is a very Robert Graham place. In fact,
is.
our favorite mattress salesman is partial to Robert Graham when he's up there delighting.
Who's your favorite mattress salesman?
Michael Fuchs?
Oh, yes, good man.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
good
he
guy.
is very much a Robert
I like the
Graham
Hello
man.
Larry guy.
Yeah.
too.
You know the guys, I haven't met them, but we've had
sure
sort
he's
of
my
phone
favorite.
email conversations. The guys at Robert Graham, the creative team, seem like a really cool group of people.
Maybe they can upholster your next car.
Or not.
Or not.
Well, you're in here today, quickly added to the Spike's Car Radio
Much
roster
appreciated. Who do I pay?
by your PR people who hit me up over the week working on a Saturday while I was in the backyard working on a
All for the
cigar.
kids, baby.
To talk about Go
Sucking a cigar.
Go Campaign,
Go
kids.
pancakes. There's a new
Go
one.
Pancakes. No, it's the Go Campaign Kids charity event. Every year you have this one in Chatsworth, and now you're going bigger. There's the event's going to be in Bel Air, a Bel Air Crest. It's a $20 million mansion. It's on June 8th. I'm assuming you're here to sell some tickets.
Hell yes. Well, even more importantly, like just to spread the word, because what we're up to, I think, is really cool. And in modern days, so many of these charities are so inefficient, it should be illegal. And Go Campaign, I've been on the board now for 7 years, and we're all about like giving opportunity to children. So we do that not by showing up and like telling a culture what they need, but we identify local heroes of that community who already understand the dynamics and who's fallen between the cracks, and they're doing something that's working. So then we literally just show up and bring financial and intellectual capital to help them scale it. And we've had our local heroes go on to win Nobel Prize, seen in local heroes, and to really make significant change in the lives of kids globally. This year, though, the event is going to focus on Los Angeles-based youth projects specifically.
Okay.
And we have some really cool ones here. And
Like what?
so we have one that's basically as kids age out of the foster program, they're unfortunately kind of given a boot in the ass and a housing coupon, and they're just sort of dumped out there.
Aging out is
At
is
18,
18.
and it's historically it's been very thoroughly documented that it's kind of it's not a good thing because without community and sort of suddenly being not amongst what community and family structure you kind of sort of had, there's a lot of issues. So
So just to back up, the foster family is getting a stipend. They're getting some money to raise this kid, and when
Correct.
they turn 18, that money stops flowing.
correct, and
Right.
the kids are said, okay, bye-bye, go on.
Right,
and
right.
then
You're
they're
an adult
given
now.
like a housing coupon. So what one of the groups that we work with does is really understand and identify that kid and like what's their style, what are their interests. So like we recently did one program where basically as their new housing is secured, our group comes in and fully furnishes and outfits the place. So like this one kid's dying to be a chef. That's all he ever talks and dreams of. So we got all sorts of killer kitchen donations and basically create a sense of home, an environment for them, and then a community of other kids coming out of the system. We've got an underserved downtown LA region public school that had an empty lot next door. And one of the teachers realized there's an opportunity. So they started an urban garden, and now they're creating sort of community and pride amongst these kids that in this particular environment, there weren't really that many opportunities. And it's like, it doesn't really matter what you get people doing. You just get someone passionate about something and engage in some sort of community. And it's just can make really significant changes.
Really
It's pretty cool.
commendable.
So the event is at this house here in Bel Air. God, it's giant. It
Yeah,
looks like
it's-
an Italian villa, and
It's
there's going to
nuts.
be
the backyard's off the hook.
you're curating cars for the event, so it's like a
Yep.
car show party.
Yeah.
What is it?
it's-
So what are the cars you're choosing? It says display vehicles, auction items, watches. I see words like Bamford, Leno's Garage, Nike, Hermes sneaker collaborations. Ooh, I like that.
We've got some crazy stuff. I'm somewhat notorious for my absurd auction, and
Is it going to be your cars only,
No,
like
no,
icon
no.
cars, or just
No. Like Matt's going to bring his Countach. We've got a couple clients.
Matt
with some-
Farah.
Yeah. We've got Aluso coming. We've got
wow.
an yet to be announced celebrity vintage Hollywood car coming out of the Peterson collection. We got JG at Mercedes Motoring.
That's
bringing
either in the
some
Magnum
vintage
PI
stuff.
car or the McQueen
A
XKSS.
slew of icons.
You know, if we had our Zagato Zuckerman, we could donate that to this show, but apparently it's, I don't know what's
Somewhere.
happening with it.
But yeah, and
the
if
pizza
people,
got lost on the way to the house.
and
don't know where the delivery guy is.
The
It's gonna be
Nikes
good.
are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So
this
this is
is
one of one custom pair of Nikes
Really?
done by Aaron Cooper, who's like a rock star at Nike, and
No
two
way.
artist buddies.
Now you're raffling those off, or
So it's an auction, and the auction's going to be online and in person. And then Nike hooked us up with all sorts of cool stuff.
Wow.
Concerts, Shawn Mendes, Michael Bublé, Carrie Underwood, the Avett Brothers for the watch geeks. Cameron Weiss, my buddy, donated. Shinola
Cameron.
did. Bamford,
Wow.
one of his new London GMTs, which
Uh-huh.
is kick-ass. And Haraj, which is like a 100% in-house, super high-end Swiss brand. 2 meteorite dials that are pretty gnarly.
You're right.
So,
like
leather
those-
goods, furniture, travel experiences, vacation packages.
sounds like a great-
Leno private tour.
all right, which Bamford GMT do you have?
I've
'Cause
got
look at those. I
that
didn't-
second from the left. The titanium
Wow.
and orange one was my personal favorite. I might be the high
That
bidder on that.
is
I like the orange
a
one.
crusher.
Yeah, George does great work. They've got such
Oh
a
my
neat,
God!
defined
I didn't know
style.
they were making these.
So, well, you know, Rolex kind of, from at least the rumor, is that Rolex started not taking too kindly to what they were doing to Rolexes, which is how they made their name, you know, doing
Right,
blacked
right.
out and funky
They're
Rolexes.
doing it with Tag Heuers too.
Right, because Rolex started doing it themselves and responding
Right,
to the
right.
market, kind of like Europa with the G-Wagons and the Mercedes officially brought them in. So yeah, about about a year ago now, George started his own production line of watches, and
I'm
really
gonna
nice
buy
design
this
and
one
quality at
right
the price.
now.
We've got watches from $200
This is
bucks
gorgeous.
to 10 grand, and over 24 of the top California vintners with the founders and the principals on hand telling story, and about 20 top LA restaurants. This is going to be damn good
Not
fun.
to mention an appearance by Spike First and
Yes.
his wife Erica,
Critically
who
so.
will be there at
What's
some
yours?
Speaking
point.
like Dave Letterman.
Hi, how you doing, Spike?
Where
Hey,
are you
sure.
going to be? You know, why don't you come?
When is this?
This is on June
He
8th.
can't go out.
On June 8th.
What is
They
it?
let him go out
He's on
once
the
a month,
spot.
right? If he wears his thing.
You can't
right?
get him out on a Friday. Is it a Friday night?
Saturday night.
It's a Saturday night.
I, in theory, could do that, but for the fact that I
Tell him
believe-
about your Saturday night. What usually happens?
Saturday night.
first I order the Chinese food, Spike, and then
I'm
I
all for
call
that.
you while you're smoking your cigar. And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna chuck myself off and eat some Chinese
Or the
food."
chucker. Now, okay, tradition. Now I start. Okay, the
Now I'm
Chinese-
watching. What's your Saturday night routine? Tell him. Be
Okay,
honest.
the honest
Cops.
Saturday night routine.
He watches
I love
Cops.
or any prison show. I want to see idiots chase other idiots around. I mean, it's like, and then I want to see people that can't follow the rules on the outside world go to prison and get along just fine with all the unsaid, unwritten rules.
And learn new skills.
Yes, and learn new skills. Like, how the fuck do they can't get along outside, but they know all the rules inside.
My
Have you
business
s-
partner and I found a new show on Netflix where they're talking through the toilets to each other in the upper
I
lower
saw that.
situation.
I saw that.
He's
Yeah,
already
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"It's my favorite show.
I
I'm
was
already
listening
watching
to
it."
a podcast
That's Saturday
last
night.
about the history of those
toilet
shows.
yes.
And there's this new one, I guess, that's massive called Live Cops
Yes,
Live.
it's
or
the biggest
something.
thing.
Oh,
Is it
live-
good?
Live
Yeah, live
PD.
PD.
I love
Okay.
this watching
A
other
point of
social
contention in my
dysfunctions.
life,
Makes you
but
feel
yes.
better about yourselves, right?
It just amazes me.
It's
The
always been that way.
stupidness of people. I just am, I am a fan of the 7 deadly sins, and they're all on display on all of these shows. So that's what I like to see
Well,
on
there you go.
Saturday
But there
night
is
while
what
I
you're
engage
talking
in
about is
gluttony and sloth.
what made Cops work right from the very beginning, which is like Saturday night, you're wrapped in an Afghan, you got a little something to eat,
Popcorn.
and other people are getting arrested
Yeah,
on
it's like
television,
much better.
and you go, God. And you start to feel grateful, right? That's what they do.
My kids aren't that bad.
Right?
I'm not that bad, but Zuckerman's that bad.
And I like
he
to-
just wants to
I
know
like-
where he's going.
They got
soon.
7 guys on top of one poor criminal, and they're screaming, You're not complying. Turn over.
You know what's crazy too is like
he's pinned down. Turn over.
the privatization of the prison system has taken the correctional out of correctional facilities,
Sure.
and now it's a cash cow holding tank, and it sucks.
It's all private.
Remember though, they used to do automotive programs. There were restoration programs, and they were again like super successful in getting people skilled and passionate about something.
Don't even get me started on the
let's not
prison
go down
industrial
this road.
system.
All right, look, let's get back to
to positivity.
Let's get back to the event before we take a break. Where are we buying tickets? What sites are we going to get involved in the auction items? Go ahead.
Super easy.
There you go. You're
Donations,
like
auction
Howard
items,
Stern.
tickets, everything. Simply gocampaign.org.
That's it.
That's it.
And everything's there.
Everything's there.
And this event, again, is on Bel Air Crest right here in L.A. on June 8th. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Spike's Car Radio. You know what? There are a lot of weird things you find in cars. And I'm not talking about garden variety petrified French fries or melted crayons or crumbs. I'm talking about live snakes, bizarre artifacts, the kind of stuff that just makes you wonder about people. Another thing that will make you wonder, but in a good way, are Continental belts. Bet you didn't know they're OE in tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, and Ford GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line. They're also OE on the majority of BMWs and VWs. Now, Continental is launching the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE Technology Series, belts that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE Technology Series multi-V belt for 98% of the vehicles on the road in the United States and Canada. Hey, you get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. A belt should not be one of those surprises. Go with the Continental OE Technology Series multi-V belt, the belt with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com. oetechnologyseries.com.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
Back with Jonathan Ward, Icon 4x4, here to promote Go Campaign Kids charity event, which is, again, June 8th. Check it out at thegocampaign.org. But we also want to talk cars. We have a bunch of listener questions to get to. I've been given some talking points here by your PR people, and I want to look
blow
through
those
them.
off. Let's see what the listeners want to hear about.
We'll get to that, definitely,
All right.
for sure. But you just made a car for Joe Rogan.
Yep.
A Toyota FJ60 wagon.
I was actually an FZJ 80, so it was a 96 wagon.
Okay.
And it's totally off the hook and too much horsepower and too much everything. And Joe and I love it. He's such a fun guy to build for because he so gets it. He had us an Icon Bronco already.
Oh, he did?
But then we built this for hunting and more like sort of transcontinental overland.
He hunts?
He hunts things.
Where does he hunt, and what does he hunt?
I don't know.
Who are the Icon 4x4 celebrities? You got your Joel McHale now. You've got Joe Rogan. You're strong in the J's. Who else are the people that don't mind having their name associated with your brand? Or is that it?
Dave Letterman's cool with it. I
Wait,
think.
Dave's got one?
Dave's got several.
Sure. Hey, hi, Jonathan.
Tom Hanks.
What?
Really?
And Hanksy's got one.
Yeah, he's got
Holy
one of my
moly.
TLCs, an FJ40.
No way.
And
what does Mr. Letterman have?
I now discontinued, but used to make our version of the CJ3B Willis, which are literally like
wow.
a cool pair of flip flops.
So from Montana, right?
Yep.
It's shut up.
And he's got some FJs. And then other than that, though, generally, like the whole point often of working with us, be it the FJs, the Broncos, or the Freaky Derelicts, is to not be like the style and design and everything's elevated, but it's not in your face. So a lot of our guys are super private. But what's interesting is we're not really, I think, considered appealing to your traditional luxury, like whatever, rapper, ball player, new rock star kind of guy. I think they generally will default to the Rolls or the Lambo or the, yo, look at me, I now have money, I've made it sort of scene. Whereas my community seems to a lot more be like self-made, bootstrapped, came from nothing. You'd never know they've got two pennies to roll together, but they're doing just fine. And it's like they're more individual and sort of self-made kind of.
Right. How do you prefer your builds used? You know, because you're a very unique builder in that, and I've driven some of your builds. they're, pieces of art, but they also function as 4x4s. Then, I remember thinking, how do I use this? Do I take it out and get it dirty? Do I take it to a Cars and Coffee? Do I daily it? Do you have any thoughts on the usage of your builds?
Yeah, for sure, because we bust our ass to do a lot of engineering to really elevate and evolve the drivability. So when I get a call on a client's, a year or two after I sold them their vehicle, I think I'm going to move on and get a this or get a that. So I want to sell it. It has 1,700 miles on it. I'm like, oh, come on. So just like sat in some man cave somewhere.
Right.
And like, why did it's like, did they buy it because their friend who really knows vehicles said, oh, that's what if you're going to get an old this or that, you should get the Icon one. And then they just park it there and click that off the box. I hate that. So no, flog it, beat it, whoop it. Every day.
Let's say I have one of your Icon 4x4s, and Zuckerman and I are on Plan Zing it, and we're ripping it apart, and something goes wrong, and I call you. Are you the guy who then now fixes this for me? Who I go, hey, I ran into a tree or something went wrong, or maybe I just need an oil change. I've been driving it for a year.
Yeah.
I just call you up and ring it over, and
yeah, but I mean, 99% of our clients aren't LA based, so every truck comes with what's called a key port. So it's like a multi-switchblade looking rectangular aluminum thingamajigger with all your keys and an 8 gig memory stick. So in that memory stick are all the PDF manuals for all supplier content, non-encrypted spreadsheet of every nut and bolt used in the vehicle.
Right.
So if we fall off the face of the planet, you can literally Google the part number and get your sourcing. So, and they're all OBD2. So,
and then who do you recommend?
Impressive.
Who do you recommend do maintenance when I live in another country, or let's say I'm on a different coast?
Well, if you're in another country, you're probably on your own, and I don't have anyone to recommend other than that USB stick, and our support from my team is always there.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
But we try to follow SOTs, so it's standard off the shelf wherever possible. I mean, there's some cul-de-sacs where I geeked out and wanted something better than what's in market. So like, our radiator's made for us by Griffin and no one's going to stock it. You're got to get it from me or Griffin. Our Brembo brakes are designed for us only by Brembo, but use pads that are shared across billions of applications. So, usually though, in like all the US hotspots, we already have a relationship with some service shop or another that we can network and get people to.
Wow.
Why do so many people think they can do what you do? Some guy sells...
Because it looks so easy. Look at this asshole. He's buying $10,000 trucks. He's selling for $300,000. Shit, I could build that for $30,000. I hear it all day every
long.
day. The one that chides my ass, though, and it's not like I'm the first idiot to say, hey, an elevated Bronco or Land Cruiser would be cool.
Right.
What kind of bums me out, though, is there's so many cool subcultures in vintage automotive, even if just in 4x. Like, come on, where's the love for the international scouts, right?
Right.
And there's so many different platforms, but right now I'm at this weird spot where a lot of the very people who said I am out of my mind and will be bankrupt in 6 months 12 years ago are now copying us, and their entire business model is we're just like Icon, but we're cheaper and quicker.
And where does it
come on?
Where does it go wrong for them? What are they not considering when they do these cheap builds?
The amount of non-reoccurring engineering to really do it at this level, the coordination at scale to maintain that quality level. And I think industry-wide, right, and you guys have had these experiences where shops run by guys like me are generally a shit show. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll take that deposit and the other deposit to load up the race trailer and go to Laguna for the weekend. And, like, there's no business intellect. So, fortunately, early on, I accepted that I suck at that. I'm the creative guy. My wife keeps logistics and structure and organize, and I have a COO. So, like... We've built a proper sort of master alliance infrastructure that allows us to really kind of get what we do out of the Stone Age. So we're reliable, we're accountable, we're trackable, and everything's CAD based. It's not hand built with a hammer and a dolly every single time. And like we working with key partners to really keep pushing the limit and evolve the model.
And it creates a world that you can play in now and not have to worry about the stuff that's kind of boring, right? You can be in a creative
for the
space
most part,
right?
I mean, it allows me to kind of at least be able to, for the most part of a given day, wear the hats that I think fit me better versus, when I'd have to sit down and do spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff, like literally have to power down my dominant brain half and then kick up the diesel generator to get the other one chugging. And over the years, and I did that with just my wife and I for 20 years before we started really having the ability to build a team. And man, it was so exhausting. And I ended up sucking. I don't remember where did I torque that yet? Did I finish that weld? Where was I in this CAD file? And on and on and on. And yeah, I'm stoked to be there. I wish I could tell you we were in the middle of R&D of the craziest project that is so audacious. I'm so excited. And we just got past this key point in testing with our mule to assure the viability of the project. We're still probably a year and a half or so from launching it, but I am super stoked. And keep in mind, just because
does it fly?
No. Just because the URL is 4x4, and that's where we started, the vast majority of the one-offs we built are passenger cars. And then the Thriftmaster that we build, all of those are basically sports cars masquerading as a 40s pickup. This next one is a game-on, track-ready, daily driver, super refined coupe that no one's going to expect.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
And it's a year and a half out.
Yeah, and I'm 3 years in design development, and it's groundbreaking on a couple technical levels that many times I've questioned, what the hell do I think I'm getting myself into? And my wife's about ready to kill me because I'm blowing so much money on it.
Is it recognizable on the exterior to
Immediately.
us? Immediately. And when you say technologically, are we talking about things like hybrid technology?
No, personally, I'm down with EV. I think hybrids are headed to the landfill. You have double system complexity and weight for little benefit. I think that's more of a corporate move to postpone proper engineering of full platforms. So no, just in all of the perversions from mild to wild that we now just sort of accept when we hop in our favorite fancy new car, those things are right. They corrupt you. So when you get into your classic, you're like, oh man, I missed that one touch window, or I missed that rev matching on downshift, and on and on and on. So this is going to have all of that.
Why do I say
married to the vintage aesthetic? I'm not going to play a guessing game.
I'm not.
Don't even take me there.
I'm just hearing somebody who's taken on maybe a rough sensibility.
Well, I love his work, but I'd argue he doesn't. It's his experience. I think it would be fair to say odious, right? Is that his name? His goal is more. It's raucous, but drivable. Versus what I'm proposing is refined down to the it's a vintage mid-century coupe, but the key fob stays in your pocket, and as you approach the car and go to open the door, the window goes down 46 millimeter automatically, and the dome light dims soft up to full glow, and you've got adaptive suspension and sport mode and on and on and on, and torque vectoring, and
that will appeal to a lot of people.
I think it'll be pretty wild.
And inexpensive.
I'm so buried in this thing. But
let's do some questions here.
Okay.
And I can't promise you they're all good. Steven Scribani wants to know, how much do your builds range in cost? Does it even matter?
Well, sure it matters. And to be fair, I'm running it as a viable business, not a luxury goods 7 times multiple business. So in a good year, if we had a 30-point spread, which is sort of baseline for a viable, sustainable business, that's where our pricing lands. It's not like we said, how much do we think we can get out of Joe Wealthy for this or that?
Joe Rogan.
So the straightforward answer is the production models go anywhere from about 190 up to about 260,000, and then the one-offs in our derelict and reformer groups of vehicles anywhere currently they're all over the place right now. Active projects from 210,000 up to about $1.2 million. So those get super loopy because what do you want to build? And all that engineering has got to be paid out on that car.
$1 million too.
Sunroof Delete wants to know. He's talking about electric. Sunroof Delete is he's the guy who's shooting from the drone a lot. That little red 964 on Instagram.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got his own thing happening. He wants to know if there's any plan for an electric DeLorean, or have you worked with a DeLorean at all?
No, I've met the dudes that are running DeLorean now, and they seem like a really smart team. I think if someone's going to do it, it's likely to be them.
Were they well made to start off?
No.
They weren't, right?
No, and the ergonomics suck, and on and on and on. I mean, honestly, because I grew up at that time, right? I, like you guys, probably, they have a special place in my head.
We like the way they look. They look cool.
They look cool. They always drove like shit.
Right.
Underpowered, heavy.
Yeah, so nah, it didn't really.
Didn't the DeLorean end right at the end of my street down in Brentwood, down at that little motel? Isn't that where they arrested him? He was holed up in the hotel. I'm pretty sure he was.
What a story.
Yeah.
The story is so much better than
Johnny
the car.
DeLorean.
Yeah, another one like that's Bricklin. Have you ever read
of course,
like
Malcolm
any of the
Bricklin.
stories about Malcolm Bricklin?
Sure.
Holy shit.
I have not.
Yeah.
Why?
Brilliant
Tell me a Bricklin
book
story.
about solely his adventure with Yugo. I think the book is Johnny Lieberman recommended it to me years ago. It is hysterical. I think literally the title of the book is The Worst Car Ever Built.
And he just
and the antics, unbelievable. Like literally.
They brought the Yugo to the United States, and he was such a charming, affable con man. And do you really think there's probably not of any of those? Was it 1 million cars? You don't see one on the fucking road.
Yeah, talk about attrition. Do you remember when Beverly Hills?
Yugo guy just bristled listening. He goes, "I have one."
Was it O'Gara? Was it Tom or whatever the Rolls dealer at the time? At the very, very end of Yugo, that's how they were getting rid of him. Was like, come by a Corniche this weekend, and we'll give you a Yugo for your maid.
Is that true?
And they dumped like 60 units. But those cars were like literally they were falling apart in the containers. They land, they have a booth at the LA Auto Show, but someone or several people dropped the ball, and they had no booth display, they had no booth models, they had nothing. So in the book, they talk about Malcolm driving around downtown LA, picking up a bunch of prostitutes and telling them, well, maybe put on one more layer or, an inch longer skirt or whatever, and like just come to this car show, everything will be fine. And they were like duct taping and gluing the cars back together to get them on the booth. That book is hysterical.
Maybe we should start collecting Yugo, Zuckerman. It sounds like no one's looking right now.
No one is looking.
Maybe that's the move.
Did you ever drive one?
No.
I did.
Really?
Once.
Oh, yeah. What a hunk of shit.
Oh, like
course.
epic,
Yeah.
epically, brilliantly bad.
Yeah.
What would you compare it to?
Oh, incomparable.
I was going to say, I don't think you can find anything really worse than this.
Sears and Roebuck go-kart?
I mean, like, have you ever driven a Gauze?
No.
Any sort of
It's
Eastern
Soviet.
German?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, worse than those.
Oh, that's not good. Heavy and awkward and weird.
Yeah. Just bad.
Would I let John upgrade my Land Rover Series 2A? Do you even work on Land Rover Series 2A? I would,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, I have. In fact, I recently bought a Series 2 out of Nevada that just had the coolest, funkiest, messed up patina, and I want to build a derelict out of it.
What would you do to mine? Like, it's horribly underpowered. The overdrive gear is just 0.0. I've had my record speed in it, I think, is 58 miles an hour.
That's really good.
It is good,
Did you
right?
re-gear it?
Huh?
You must
no.
have re-geared it.
No, I did
Tailwind?
not. But it's
Hill?
got an overdrive gear in it.
I mean, to me, like, I like to... To me, the Series Rovers through to the Defenders, there's such a tribe of people that swear by them.
Yes.
I dig the aesthetic. I
Right.
have personally no appreciation for the execution or
Exactly.
the engineering.
Yes.
Now, people come to me with them a lot, though, and I'm very quick to frame it. Like, look, it is an ag tool. It is a military
It's a tractor.
farm
Right.
tractor.
Yep.
If you're cool with that, accept those confines, put yourself in that headspace and be patient, they're a blast. They break down. You can...
Still drive them away from the scene.
Exactly.
frequently.
Like you can refill the transfer case with
Right.
urine and party on for a little bit, right?
But if I were in West Bridgewater, where I grew up and had the dirt roads, I'd have no problem with this vehicle. But I'm not. I'm here on
so
the
I
west
encourage
side.
people to keep it in that space. If they don't, then I would engineer a new chassis, radius arm, coilover, Fox Racing, Brembos, Curry axles, turbo
make it
diesel,
fast.
probably the R2. No, nothing crazy, but like
Right.
I'd say the R28 out of Cummins would be kick-ass. A little
Yeah.
turbo 4 with a 5-speed and Atlas 2 and call it a day.
Think he
and
practices
remove
this?
Lucas
This was
everything.
good. This was a great rundown.
That's the formula for that car, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's cool.
But
All
don't
right.
jump the shark cosmetically.
No, it's
Dead
beautiful.
stock looking down
Yeah.
to the gauges, but all
Yeah.
VDO units that actually work, hiding behind the original face and fonts and needles and stuff.
Okay. Will, do we have to take one more break? Are we at 3 break today? Let's do that, and then I'm going to come back. We'll do some more questions. 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? Get an offer with your car from TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, just listen to my voice, you can get a true cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or at home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate true cash offer from local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together, the two of you. You can even hug if you want. You can ask questions, get the answers you need, so there's no surprises, and simply leave your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a new, better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
I'm like sitting here racking my sack, like trying to find a
Their
position.
balls. Let's just start right there.
Maybe as an icon guy, you should redo that. You should have
a little
updated
Welcome
balls.
back. We're
Yeah,
talking
updated
about
balls.
testicles. We're talking to Jonathan Ward, whose Go Campaign Kids charity event is being held on June 8th. You can check it out and get tickets and hang out with me, Jonathan Ward. What other notables will be there? Maybe Zuckerman if he's not watching Cops.
I think Jay's coming.
Jay Leno is there.
I
I
think
saw-
Rod Emery's coming. I mean, really,
Matt Farah
just
will
a
be
really
there,
fun
Adam Carolla.
group of people. And like, we do our fancy pants, like sit down formal gala every year. It's a little stuffy. So this like isn't your typical auction event. Like
This is going to be great.
killer
And there are going to be
playlists.
cars there. We're going to be out.
Yeah,
we'll
we're
have wives,
outside.
and we'll see
Killer
cars.
food, tons of wine, mezcal.
I'm excited about it now.
My buddies started this new mezcal brand called Madre Mezcal, and it's so stupid good. So it was all wine. I'm like, we need some mezcal.
Now Zuckerman's coming.
Booze. Yeah, I want to tell you something. If you have a smart kid, one of these kids, and they need an internship or a job, I'll give them a job in my file room. The idea that 18-year-olds are turned loose to raise themselves.
He's talking about the foster kids, not your employees.
yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say my kids are kind of smart, but I don't think they want like an internship at Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
He has
but
a
no,
great-
that's great. I
Put me
appreciate
down.
that.
Zuckerman's
You're
whole
one of
firm
your-
is a collection of strays.
Yeah, so if you've
So
got
they'll fit
a
perfectly there.
kid with a future that needs a little bit of a family, we're happy to. And when a kid, I mean one of the foster kids, I'll make a place for him at the firm.
That's very kind.
That'll be my contribution.
I'll talk to.
He's just trying to get out of coming, by the way.
Yeah, we're
It's
paying
just
for
by
a ticket,
this random
yeah.
act.
I'll always
Whatever.
pay double not to go. Whatever it is, I'll pay double if I don't have to go.
I'll bring
All right.
that up with Michelle, our program director.
Sure.
I really appreciate it.
No
Anthony J wants to know, and I want to know too. What are your thoughts on the new Jeep Gladiator? Because I'm getting one of those. What would you do to that thing, if anything, or would you do nothing to it? Not
I mean,
buy it?
I think they're super cool, and I'm full of stupid ideas of what I do to it, which generally will start with deleting plastic thingamajiggers and replacing them with honest materials and more tactile honesty and quality.
Would you rather an old Jeep Gladiator?
We're actually doing. Did you ever see the really early Kaiser Wagoneer that we built, where we did the Kaiser Gladiator nose? Mm-hmm. Now we're doing a '70 Cherokee, but I bought a
Wow.
Gladiator pickup because I'm so in love with that shovel front clip, and we're going to
Right.
graft the two together.
Wow.
But with that platform, yeah, there's tons of fun stuff to do. But my friends at AEV, American Expedition Vehicles, rock that platform. Like, they have the best of everything for anything for it. And to be frank, they kind of are the ones who designed and developed such a beast with the product they were selling for years called the Brute. And then they did a crew cab. And then Chrysler thought, oh, that's kind of a good idea.
We'll
So
just take
then
it.
that happened.
Have you done a Hudson pickup truck? Is that called?
I love it. The Big Boy. One of the best names for a vehicle ever.
Yes.
The Hudson Big Boy. Right
With
up
that-
there with the Starlight Coupe. The
Yes.
Studebaker Starlight
Starlight Coupe.
Commander.
Yes.
I own both. So I have a 46 Hudson Big Boy. ripe and ready to be built as a derelict
Yes.
in my personal hoard, and I'm trying to find someone who
It's got
agrees
that
and wants to pay.
great grill. It's
Well,
got,
and the continuity, the
yeah,
flow, right, of
yeah.
the engineering.
It's all yes. There's something a little Art Deco
Yep.
about. Now, if the Starline isn't, I think 53 is. You want the earlier ones.
Bullet nose 4950
okay.
are really the sweet
The
spot
bullet
for
nose.
that
I'm
Commander.
thinking of the Raymond Loewy that comes a little bit later.
So Ray
Since
played
they-
a hand in both.
Yeah.
And the slightly later ones, you may be thinking more Golden Hawk or Silver
Right. Well, I'm
Hawk.
thinking of the. Okay, so 53 is the first one without the fins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then later they grow the fins, which I think ruins
Yeah,
the
they get a little
look.
silly.
Yeah.
You know, back to the Hudson, neat story with that. Hudson decided that they just acknowledged and decided that there's no way in hell they were going to compete dollar to dollar with the likes of Chevy and Ford for
Right.
farm trucks, right? So Hudson's like, okay, we're going to build the boss's truck. We're going to do the Hefe, like
Right.
the ranch master's
Right.
truck. So they took their more luxurious and higher trim level sedan. I think it was the Commodore. Historians feel free to correct me. And that was the sheet metal they based the pickup on.
Right.
And that pickup was designed by a woman.
Really?
So that has a big part in the character and the grace and the continuity
and the bed's
of
a
the
little
design.
lower, right?
Yeah,
It's
just the whole thing's more velvety, right?
Yes,
They
exactly,
look
and that's-
chopped and Frenched and channeled.
Yes,
from the
it's-
factory.
Yeah, it's
Stunning.
elegant. You're
Yeah.
right. It's an
Very
elegant
elegant.
approach. All of their products, like is it that terraplane with
Yeah.
where you pull out? You could like the businessman's terraplane. You
Yeah,
can
with
pull
the
out
you
the
pull
bed.
out. Yeah.
yeah. There's so many cool products. They really
Hudson
original
did really
thinking.
beautiful work.
Yeah, let's do something.
And you know what's cool is the like brands like Hudson and like Willis and sort of the stepchildren in the industry, especially the ones that weren't located in Detroit, you know, going
Right.
all the way back to Auburn, Duesenberg, Cord, and all those guys. They were the MacGyvers. They were the independents. And what's quite interesting is despite, in often cases, despite their reduced resources and not being in the big boy club, so to speak, their execution and quality was better.
For
It's
that
like because they
very
didn't
reason.
know any better,
They
right?
didn't know
So they
any
were
better.
making it the best they could. And I've really noticed that over the years because if you're going to forensically disassemble a vehicle to re-engineer and put it back together, that's when you're going to get a really good feel for the level of quality in the execution of the build.
I want to do a Hudson product with you.
Yeah, let's do it. Baby.
Yes.
You got to come drive this Hudson Coupe. It's going to be nuts.
Scott Bartmus wants to know, what is
Bartmus.
your preferred year range for FJ40 builds? Would you consider the early 1971 era or recommend starting with something later, 78 to 83 era?
So I'm going to answer that more from the perspective of my TLC 4X4 brand, my first brand that's all we do are the cruisers, mostly stock, sometimes modified.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do it stock, I highly recommend January of 1979 or newer, or ideally August of 1980 or newer. 79 and newer is a big differentiator because power steering and air conditioning became available factory options, and it's easier to retrofit them with aftermarket solutions. Ergonomics are better, seats are more comfortable. Gas tank is now under the vehicle, not under your passenger seat, sloshing around like a ticking time bomb.
Like the old Volvo,
The
Zuckerman.
373 freeway gearing, and then if you get in a two-barrel car, more responsive everything, power assist, disc brake, 4 pistons in the front, and then August of 80 and newer goes to the split transfer case, which is way quieter and stronger. Cable actuated parking brake, direct to rear axle, which gets rid of that stupid drum in line with the drive shaft. So if you're going to keep it stock, I'd go for the later years. If you're going to modify it, game on, do whatever you want. And in fact, you could argue that the sort of 74 and back are best in respect to the quality of the steel, and the gauge of the steel is greater than that used in the later ones. And you're going to modify yourself around the 3 on the tree or the drum or whatever. Or if you don't give a shit and you're not planning on trying to drive it across country, then party on dead stock. They're great. Just don't expect to hop on the freeway and,
A tour de force of knowledge, this gentleman.
It's amazing,
I
isn't it?
respect that.
Yeah,
Let me
just
ask you-
highly
let me ask you the-
dysfunctional. Yeah.
More.
That Hudson Terraplane I'm showing you, and I love this vehicle.
epic. And look at that. So the interior is almost as screwed up as Voisin.
Yes.
A lot of listeners are asking about the electric plans. Electric plans. Are there any electric plans for you?
Yeah. So we've built 3 electric vehicles thus far. 2 were pretty darn straightforward. We did Fiat Gardeniera. What is that? A Fiat 500, like the funky little subcompact situation.
Yep.
And then we did a original paint Volkswagen thing.
Uh-huh.
So those were both done and fairly low tech, existing solutions in the market. But then if I'm being such an idiot, like if I'm going to do it, I want to do it for the art of the execution, and I really want to study and elevate what's been done before. So in my opinion, the vast majority of the aftermarket EV conversion packages, kits, shops, they work, but they're not really thought through to the further extent. So, for example, you have converted electric whatever, you drive up to Big Bear, you charge it, you're totally full of electrons, and you go downhill for 2 hours. Where are those electrons going to go? Unfortunately, highly likely in a ball of flames, because the technology is very low tech. There are no thermal management systems generally addressed to the battery networks. Tesla's thermal management system heats and cools to keep the batteries in an optimum range for safety, performance, longevity, etc. So right now we're just about done. It'll be done within about 30 days. We're doing a derelict 1949 Mercury Coupe original paint. We plumbed a full P85 Tesla battery array, and we're running dual AMR electric motors, so it's just under 500 foot-pounds of torque. Oil-cooled, transmissionless, so 0 to 110, no shifts, pulls like a freight train, tied to an Art Morrison four-wheel independent chassis with electric power steering. And really what was most important with that in trying to evolve EV, it's Tesla supercharger compatible, it's municipal charger compatible, and it has a full CAN bus electronic system, meaning we're double safety stopgap monitoring all systems down to an individual cell. So like the vehicle's web and Wi-Fi enabled. So like if there's a short in one of a billion cells, I'll get an alert. I can advise my client. Just like Tesla, we can get the metrics. How's the client using it? Is he flogging it? Is he barely driving it? What range, what real world, what is he seeing? And then packaging wise, I hate it when you just see like some neon underglow LED and a sort of generic black cube or whatever. So we had a lot of fun on that one, like trying, because it's such like a James Dean sort of early California hot rod vibe that we wanted to keep that alive. So like vintage speed equipment inspiring the packaging. So like when you look under the hood, what appears to be an engine is actually a full array. It's all CNC'd out to look like an exaggerated V8 with like Fenton heads, but it's really just hiding all the battery modules and everything. It's so much fun.
What is it when you say oil cooled? Run me through that in a basic layman's terms. Where is that oil? What is it cooling? Batteries?
So no, we're cooling the actual electric motors that are back-to-back mounted.
Okay.
And we have another independent.
But where does that? How does that work? You're not
so there's
plumbing.
There's gear reduction within it.
Right.
So it's cooling those gears, and it's also outboard of the Saders.
Got it. Okay.
And then the
and is that how they're normally cooled?
In the aftermarket, no. By OEMs, generally, yes.
And what kind of, how frequently do you change that oil? You know what I mean? Do you need an oil change and anything like that ever?
No, not really. Like decades plus.
Decades.
The service needs pretty
All
minimal.
Right. We're almost out of time, but let's get to the Aston Martin Zagato. Where is it at? What's going on with it right now?
Why are you going to finish with something that's going to make me cry?
Why? I don't know anything about what we're talking about.
So we did a one-off Aston Martin Zagato GT Barchetta based on a drawing that my friend Mr. Spada, Hercule Spada, had penned for Mr. Brown back in '59, and the car never got built.
Oh, wow.
So we built it.
I know that story.
We were almost finished. We had it bodied in Italy, flew it back to the States. Magazine put it on their cover as a full render, and they put an Aston Martin badge on it, and within 24 hours, Aston Martin legal climbed all over us.
Wow.
We later discover why. It's because they were doing another round of the reissues,
Right.
and they are still doing them with the original powertrains and drum brakes and the like, and not yet doing the Barchetta.
Right.
So ours was running contemporary Vanquish Sport V12 and 6-speed and 4-wheel disc and on and on and on. So I think that they felt we might distract from their project. So they sicked a team of lawyers on me and my client and cited trade dress issues, which are moot points because those elements weren't even on the car. And under kind of a cool thing with Italy with intellectual property, like the dude whose hand was on the pencil owns the rights to a design for 100 years, period. So we were doing it in partnership with him and with full clearance. But what am I going to do? Take Aston Martin to The Hague? I mean, they're
just add a
bankrupt
word
and
like
discovered.
Aston Martin short, or just change it enough.
Well, I wasn't even planning on putting their badge on it so I don't get in any trouble, and it was a client
Dean
commission
Martin.
job.
This is what people always ask us about the Zagato build. And, that's what Zagato went and did. They actually sat the Porsche executives down and said, we're not going to do this. And you can, it's sanctioned by them. But here's an interesting little parallel, huh?
Yes.
And some context for that. No one even understands what that means. But they're making more Aston Martin Zagatos, DB4 Zagatos, GT. Wow. They have extra numbers laying around
public already. No, they're doing them under continuation. So I'm sure they'll have some extra numbers, or they'll do it under the new titling process.
Those cars are some of the most beautiful cars in the world.
Gorgeous.
So now what happens with your car? Now that Aston Martin is screwed
I don't know, other than I'm really sad every time I walk by it in my warehouse because my client...
But can you drive it without the badging? Or is it the
here's
design?
The thing, it's a commissioned car for a private individual.
Right.
That private individual can do whatever he wants. He can put a Porsche badge on it. He can put an Aston badge. It doesn't
so you
matter.
Can leave little holes.
Exactly, and deliver without a badge. Unfortunately, I think my
things.
client got quite concerned by the overtly litigious approach and is distracted, or his wife found out and didn't know, or whatever his reason, his heart is no longer in the project. So,
Zuckerman, this is your opportunity.
I can't build something for someone who's not in love with
I've never met
process.
someone who doesn't care about paper like that, who's afraid of nothing more than this man right here.
I've been trying to get the client to pick the car up now for a year, and it hurts me every time I walk by and see it.
Zuckerman.
Let him come after me. Let him. Come on, I have a very, very narrow skill set. This problem happens to fall right between those
in the middle.
goalposts. Come along, Aston. Let's have some fun. Let's get it on.
Come on. You've met Steve Sirio, who runs Aston New England. They're preoccupied, the Aston guys. They're trying to just crank their cars out. They don't have time
cutting new paper gaskets.
They get some highfalutin lawyers with Harvard degrees, and that shit don't matter at the corner of Olympic and Robertson.
Is the car finished? Where is
it
at?
Roller.
75%? It's a roller right now.
It's a roller and primer with powertrain in place, but no electrical, plumbing,
is this
fluids,
the car that I
finish.
saw when I brought Car Matchmaker over there?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. It's destiny.
bullies.
It's destiny, Zuckerman.
One-off Barani.
Let's
It's
get
pretty
some.
badass.
It's destiny.
And to close out on forget the gentleman's or woman's name with the EV question. So, yes, definitely interested. I have concerns that may be unique to my perspective, which is I don't want to be in the business of selling iPhone 5s, in that the technology is moving so quickly. When I see independents making plays and promising to come out with EV and crowdfunding and all that based on a singular prototype, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to scale production, the technology was out of date and irrelevant within the first 6 months. I'm having a hard time. This Merc, one of the reasons it's been delayed about 6 months is like Reinhardt, different content technology partners have come out with second, third, fourth generational improvements of the content, and I can't let it leave with the outdated one, so I keep backing up and updating it.
Right.
So I'm worried about the retention for my clients, the value, because thus far Icon resales have been like crazy good. But if suddenly I'm selling basically personal electronics,
iPhone 5s is hilarious.
right? And the tech
what about
in a year is
BlackBerries? You want to sell those?
So I don't know. I'm nervous about that.
Yeah,
but this
that's
Merc is the
interesting.
test bed because very quickly I'd love to roll it into the Thriftmaster, then the Bronco, and the FJ. And
Well, you know what? I like the vehicles you make that make noise and burn gas
Me
and oil.
too.
So I'm not so sure.
We're
I
doing
care
a
about
Ferrari
that.
250 GTE electric.
Wow.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Jonathan Ward is who you've been listening to. His charity event is, what is it called?
Go.
Well, it is Vintage Hollywood.
Vintage Hollywood.
Is the event, and our partners that are producing the event with us this year, a great group based here in LA. Charity's called Go Campaign. You can reach out to me directly, or you can go to gocampaign.org. The auction will go live next week. Tickets are selling out. We usually sell out every year. We cap it at 400 guests. So if you guys want to come, we'd love to have you and grab your tickies before they're gone. But if you can't make it, you want to kick us $1 or $5 or buy one of my nifty auction items you didn't need, we thank you sincerely for the support.
It's awesome. Just go to gocampaign.org. All the information is there. Jonathan, stop by anytime. You don't need your goofball publicist to email me. Just text me and let me know when you want to come in. Zuckerman, what do you have to say, my friend?
Well, just if you or a loved one have been in an accident, call me at Carpenter, Zuckerman, and Rowley.
CZR Law, right?
CZR
It's
Law.
like SCR. It's CZR. You're the CZR. I'm the SCR.
That's right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
CZR Law.
.com.
Did you just confuse your plug? Are people lost now? Or do you
No,
think they
now
kept
it's
the acronym?
simpler. CZR, This is when I have to find, whenever I have to put the stupid thing into the Waze to get to Zuckerman's office, I always go, what is the name? There's too many names. And then I go, oh, wait, CZR Law. Just like that. And it comes right up, and then I drive over. And then we yell at each other from across the table and call each other horrible pieces of shit.
So sweet.
Yes.
That's how we relate to each other. And you can always contact me on Instagram, and I will do my best to get back to you, DM, or otherwise, we'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.